Why can't we see the monsters in Bird Box? Bird Box is such a thought provoking film because so much is left unanswered. Part of what makes the movie creepy is the very idea that you can't see what is making people kill themselves. The monster itself isn't actually a monster in our sense because we can't even see it. We retain a sense of power when we can see a threat, but when we can't see it, we're left feeling totally helpless, which is how the people feel in the movie. It's part of the reason why I love tarantulas and really large spiders and snakes, but I'm skeeved out about tiny, fast moving insects or arthropods that can get lost in my clothes and my mouth. So, in the video card, I presented a theory on what the monster is or what it symbolizes. So, this is another far out theory, but that theory provides a deep and mature look on society and social platforms. You can go check it out. But on the more ethereal side, could this thing be an actual entity like the aliens that were in A Quiet Place? We see the crazy guy Gary draw different renditions of the monster. And as a lot of you pointed out, some of them look like Cthulhu. The monster appears as people's worst fears, greatest loss, or sadness. As a result of seeing this, it makes regular people kill themselves. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it looks like Cthulhu, and you're right. If you look at the picture directly in the middle, this dude really does look like Cthulhu, so I can understand people making the connection, and other people are saying it's not, and it may not be, but we know that things in movies, or ideas that are presented in movies, are not done so haphazardly. There's always a reason behind it, and I can assure you that every single one of these images that we saw in the movie means something. Now, to understand exactly what the monster is or what it could be, let's look at some of the evidence, and some of the evidence is monsters or some of the drawings here that look like Cthulhu or something from out of that universe. Notice that the picture that we see in the still shot that's in the most foreground of the other pictures is the one that bears a striking resemblance to Cthulhu. Now, here's something that someone said in a comment on a forum somewhere that's a summary of the story of Cthulhu. And this is where it gets eerie. And tell me if you notice any similarities with what you've seen in the movie. Here goes. Cthulhu is a deity or fictional being created by the horror writer H.P. Lovecraft. Cthulhu is a godlike being from another planet. It, Cthulhu is neither male nor female, is supposedly very ancient compared to humans. It has the alien appearance of a large green dragon with the head of a squid, which is really interesting because if we look at the original monster design, or we don't have anything to look at, but based on what Sandra Bullock said, the original monster was supposed to be a large green snake with a baby head. She says it was a large green man with a horrific baby face. It was snake-like, and I was like, I don't want to see it when it first happens. Just bring it into the room, we'll shoot the scene. I turn, and he's like this growling at me. It's making me laugh. It was just a long, fat baby. So Sandra Bullock describes this creature, or the concept of it, as a green snake man with a baby face. Snakes are akin to serpents, and serpents are akin to dragons. As a matter of fact, in old definitions, a dragon is a large serpent-like legendary creature that appears in the folklore of many cultures. Snake and serpent are also used interchangeably. So, don't you find it a little bit coincidental that this thing is said to be a large green dragon or serpent with the head of a squid, and the monster that was supposed to show up in the movie is a large green serpent with the head of a baby? Let's continue on with the comment. There are said to be many people that worship him as their deity because of his powers over the mind. Cthulhu is one of the great old ones, a group of godlike monsters from another place that now inhabit Earth, waiting to rise up and destroy the human race so they can rule the planet. The old ones are neither good nor evil, meaning that they do not hate humans, they just don't care about them. They think of humans as if they could be ants. Also, their appearance is so unlike anything of this world that it is said that any human who so much gazes upon one of them will go insane. I don't know, guys. This seems a lot like what was happening in Bird Box. Let's continue for the last paragraph of this person's comment. In one of Lovecraft's stories, The Call of Cthulhu, he said that Cthulhu currently lies in a dreamlike state in the underwater sunken city of R'lyeh, I think. I don't remember how to pronounce that. Waiting for the time when the old one shall rise again. In the story, Relay is located in the Pacific Ocean. Remember that everything started happening in Russia in the movie, but when you also consider how close Russia is to the United States, and when you also consider that the North Pacific Ocean kind of connects the two countries, things get a little bit too coincidental for my taste. So for those of you leaving comments that the monster is Cthulhu or something from that universe, I think you may be onto something. Cthulhu has power over the mind. He's also part of a group of godlike monsters known as the Great Old Ones. The reason why we probably can't see him is because he's from a completely different world. Or maybe those are just the effects that he's had on the mind. Because if we really look at it, people have seen the monster, but when they see him, they go insane. When we look at the movie, it's easy for us to jump to the conclusion that the monster is invisible. But is it really? Could it be that we just don't see it as the audience because we really don't see it? If you notice, the people who have seen the monster or look at it, they die. They don't live to tell the tale except for the people that are already crazy or are already insane. Remember the paragraph from this person's comment based on the story. It says, also, the appearance of these creatures, like Cthulhu himself, their appearance is so unlike anything of this world that it is said that any human who so much as gazes upon one of them will go insane. So it is understandable why Gary, somebody who's already insane, has all these pictures. And this also proves to us that not only could it be Cthulhu, which is one of the people or one of the monsters that we see here, but he probably has seen multiple monsters. I heard a lot of people referring to the monster as singular, but of course it's not. The monsters can't be all in the same place at the same time. And as you remember me having said, reading that comment, Cthulhu is one of the Great Old Ones, a group of godlike monsters from another place that now inhabit Earth. That means that Cthulhu isn't the only one of his kind, and that would explain why a lot of the other monsters have different forms. One looks like Cthulhu, and then others look like completely different things. One thing is for sure, these are all monsters from another plane that now inhabit Earth, and they have risen up to destroy the human race so that they can rule the planet. Notice how these drawings are also nothing like what has been seen on Earth. These are demonic entities or creatures from another dimension or another world. So, after having done research and read what some of you are saying and done the research of my own, I have come to the conclusion, and I am 90% sure, well, let's make it 81% sure, that the monsters in the Bird Box movie are the Great Old Ones, including Cthulhu. If we're basing it off of the story that was presented here, and people going insane after seeing these things, or the insane people already being insane not being affected by it, then all of these ideas line up and point to only one possible conclusion. Here's another comment from someone else. Cthulhu is an incredibly powerful multidimensional alien who has lived for millions, if not billions, of years. He is composed partly of matter that is out of phase with our universe. This means that he is completely invulnerable to matter from our dimension, although he can be stopped temporarily, which could have to do with him not being able to come in houses. Maybe that's part of it. Okay, moving on. He came to Earth millions of years ago with a servitor species, the star spawn of Cthulhu, which is a race he created to serve him, whether through genetic engineering or simply magic. He was forced to go to sleep millions of years ago, and he and his species currently sleep on the island of Relay, which is submerged somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. Occasionally, when the stars are right, it will rise and Cthulhu awakens briefly. The last time this happened, thousands around the world were driven to insanity and suicide by strange dreams. Continuing to the end, it says, one day when the stars are right and mankind has degenerated into primal madness, he will awake again and drag down the puny cities of man into the dark depths. This is just some really rough stuff. But we want to hear from you guys. What do you think the monster is? If we're talking about something that's not totally abstract, as I mentioned in the other video, this seems to be the best candidate for what the monsters in Bird Box could be. The reason why we can't see them in the movie, or we think people can't see them in the movie, is because we haven't seen them. The whole idea is that if we did, we too would be driven insane. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Altiori. You ask, we answer.